Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Gal Swisa Cohen. 3 years ago, my family and I moved to Long Island with a clear mission to serve as a living bridge between the people of Israel and the incredible community here. Out of this journey, I created The Israeli Bond, a podcast designed to tell the story of Israel and its people beyond the headlines. We are here for the authentic, the personal, and the direct stories that bring us close together. This podcast is a production of the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County, New York, and it is thanks to their vision and support that this content is brought to you today. And let's begin with a very, very special guest that close to my heart, Emily Rahmilov.
Hello.
Actually, fun fact, this is Emily's second episode on this podcast. The first one was the first episode ever on the Israeli Bond podcast. We did it together, so she's very brave also.
Thank you.
But I'll give a short introduction of you. So Emily is a Shinshin on the Randy Wolba Malinsky Center for Israel delegation of C. Jacobson JCC. For those who may not know, a Shinshin stands for Shnat Shirut, a year of service, or gap year, that some Israeli teens choose to take between the high school and their army service. Usually, they do it for community work in Israel or Jewish communities around the world. Emily chose to do her gap year here with us on Long Island, where she served as a bridge between the people of Israel and the American Jewry here in many different places around the island, right?
Right, exactly.
And as I said before, this is our second episode together. The first one, which is the first one ever of this podcast, we talked about your life and what brought you to do a Shnat Shirut, a year of service here on Long Island. But today, we're going to talk about a different topic. We're going to talk about a moment in time that I feel that as Israeli and as Jews, we have a commitment to tell the world about this day. And of course, that I'm talking about October 7th, 2023. And Emily's story and her family story from this day is really remarkable. We're doing this conversation in order to keep a memory of this day and of your family and your story of this day. Okay?
Okay.
So let's just start. Take me back to October 7th, 2023. It's 6:29 a.m. Take me back. What were you doing?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here in the podcast. It's my honor. So October 7th. So I remember waking up at about 6:28 a.m. right before the sirens begin. I woke up from hearing loud explosions. So I woke up from the noise, and I remember waking up my mom and telling her that I'm scared because I feel that something is off and that I hear the explosions. And she didn't even have time to respond before a siren started going off.
Wait, explosions? Where you heard explosions from?
It's just the bombing from the other sirens that started in other places before it came to Ofakim, my city. So I heard that, and
we need to say that Ofakim, the city that you live in, is a city that is close to the Gaza border?
It's about 15 miles from the Gaza border. It's right between Beersheva and Gaza on the map.
Okay, so you started to hear explosions?
Yes.
From other places around you, and then alarms. Okay.
Exactly. I'm very sensitive about those noises, especially like from the past. So I wake up from those stuff, and I woke up very anxious. I told my mom, and she didn't even have time to respond. So like we woke up immediately. We woke up everyone at the house. At the time it was me, my mom, my dad, and my sister, Natalie. She was 26 years old at the time, that day. So we woke up, everyone, we took our dogs, and we ran to the shelter.
Because you don't have a shelter, you don't have a safe room at your home.
Exactly. So we don't have a safe room in our home. So every time there is a siren, we have to run outside to the neighborhood in the shelter.
How long you have to get to the shelter before the rocket hit?
We have 45 seconds, and if we run, it will be maybe about 20 seconds run.
Like you need to get up.
Yes.
And then run for 20 seconds and then you're in the shelter.
Exactly. And with the dogs, it's even harder. So the shelter in my neighborhood is a synagogue. So we ran outside and we realized it was closed. Because it was right before Simchat Torah and they didn't open it. Of course, no one thought that we might have sirens, so no one thought about opening the shelter. So we and a few more neighbors, we just had to stand outside the shelter under the open sky for more than 10 minutes because we had a few sirens in a row. So we just stood there, everyone, waiting for it to be over.
Wow, you're telling it like it's easy, but at the end of the day, you're outside in the open. You hear sirens. You know that there are rockets, missiles coming at you, and you're just exposed like that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. We were exposed. We were very scared. Me, for example, I was very, very anxious and nervous. So I'll give a little background. I grew up surrounded by wars since I was a little kid. We always had something, a war, an operation. And when I was 8 years old, in 2014, we had Operation Protective Edge to Keitan. And that operation really affected me. I developed severe anxiety from that. I remember myself running every single night to the shelter with my sisters. And as an 8 years old kid, it's not easy. We were sleeping in the synagogue at the time for nights until it will be over. And I just became a very anxious kid. Since then, I was scared to walk alone in the street or to take a bus by myself. I remember even walking back from school to home. My school is very close to my house, maybe 10 minutes walk or 15. And I used to be on the phone with my mom every single time, even in daylight, because I was just an anxious kid. So especially when we had sirens, I used to get really, really scared. It affects my body even if I'm trying not to. So the day, obviously, being exposed to the rockets, I started shaking. I had trouble breathing. And my family is already familiar with that, with the fact that this is how I'm reacting. This is also why I woke up before the sirens. Because again, my body is already trained to hear it and to react like that.
Like you were always on call.
Exactly, yeah. So after the sirens were over, my dad decided he will take us to my other sister's house. Her name is Sophie.
It wasn't really over. There was just there was a short period of it was completely over.
No, but for us, all we knew, all that happened at the time was that we had a few sirens. It was very, very unexpected because we hadn't heard a siren in a very long time, and it was also 6 a.m. But we didn't think this through too much. We were thinking about the fact that we will probably have more sirens soon. So my dad wanted to take us to my other sister's house because she has a safe room in her house. So we didn't know anything about terrorists, obviously, or about what's going on in the country. It was just because they know that I'm anxious and that I need to be in a house with a safe room. That was the only reason. And I also remember myself telling my dad and my parents, I really argued with them that I don't want to go because I was scared to drive. Because what will we do if we'll have a siren on the way to my sister's house? She's living on the other side of Ofakim. Ofakim is a small city, so it's about 7 minutes drive, not that long. Finally, they convinced me that we should go. I was very scared, but I knew that it will just make it easier for me, and this is how we'll be safe. So my other sister, Natalie, who lives with me in the house, She decided she was also very anxious from the sirens, and she wanted to take a minute for herself to get herself together. Again, we just woke up. It was 6 a.m. And she told us she'll join us later. She has her own car. She's an adult.
Maybe she needed to dress up a little bit,
Yeah.
like have coffee, something that you
Exactly.
do when you wake up.
So my dad took me and my mom. We jumped into the car and we started driving to Sophie. It was, again, everything within minutes. I had exactly 3 minutes in my house. I took a bag. I put a bunch of clothes in it because I was in my pajamas. I took my charger and we started driving to Sophie's house. Again, it's a 7-minute drive. And right before we got there, just like 5 minutes maybe into the drive, my sister Natalie, who stayed home in my home, is calling my mom, and she's telling her that she thinks she hears gunshots in the neighborhood. And again, she was anxious. She wasn't sure what she was hearing, but she was pretty sure it's gunshots. Like, you can't miss the noise of it. Again, within minutes, no one understood what was happening. So my dad drove to Sophie's house, dropped me and my mom, and just immediately turned around and drove back to Natalie.
So when she's telling you that she hears gunshots, what did you think that happens there?
At this moment, we weren't even sure. I remember we got into the house, me and my mom, and we told, so Sophie, she has a husband and kids, and we told them, like, Natalie is hearing gunshots in the neighborhood. Dad drove back to her. And I remember my brother-in-law, he didn't even believe it. Like, he said, I'm sure she's hearing something else. Like, there is no way, gunshots in the neighborhood. So we were like nervous. We were trying to figure out what is happening, but we couldn't really. So we just we were together. We were waiting to hear back from them. I don't even remember how I felt in this moment.
But your dad, he didn't think it's something, he didn't thought that Natalie is like making it up or just
No,
like being
of course
paranoid.
not. No.
Because he went straight back.
Yeah, I understood there is something, like, no matter what it is. And there is no way that you hear gunshots for no reason. Like, we understood that something is off. So I'm sure like he didn't even think about this through. He just decided like he has to drive back to her and like take her out of there no matter what it is. So he dropped us and he drove back to her. And he was on the phone with Natalie the whole time. And what I'm going to tell next, it will be from my dad's and Natalie's perspective and from videos that were recorded in our car. Because I wasn't in this situation. I was on the other side. I was in Sophie's house with my whole family.
Waiting for a phone call from them.
So he drove back to Natalie. And he got to my neighborhood. Again, there's a video and you can hear them on the phone. And she's telling him also on the phone, don't come here. Like, I don't want you to come here because like it's dangerous. I hear the gunshot, turn around, don't come here. But obviously kept on driving. And my neighborhood is built in a circular way, in a circular way with one main exit in the middle. So this is like, you have only one way you can enter with a car to my neighborhood. And my house is exactly in the middle. So he drove into the neighborhood. And right when he entered, he already saw some terrorists. And they shot at his car.
Wait, how did he know it's a terrorist?
So first of all, they were dressed up in IDF uniform. So I remember him telling us that he was sure it's IDF soldiers, but within seconds he realized that they're not because they were shooting at his car. So I think there were two of them from each side. They were shooting at him. And again, he drove, my house is exactly in the middle. So he drove. And also on the way, there was one of our neighbors who were outside. And even before he got to Natalie, he was screaming at him. He opened the window and he was screaming at him, go inside your house. There are terrorists. Go inside your house. And and he got to my house, and Natalie was already like outside. She was locking our gate, and she jumped into the car immediately. They had to also like leave the dogs behind. She was also like very scared about that. They didn't even have time to think about those stuff. So she jumped into the car. And like I said, my neighborhood is like in a circular way. So they just tried to exit from one side with the car. They started driving, and the terrorists were there. They were blocking all the exits, and they were shooting at them. So like you can also hear them in the videos, like realizing that they have nothing to do. Like they're saying, what are we gonna do? Should we go back to the house? Should we continue on driving? Like we feel like we have nothing to do here. We're blocked in this situation.
And all this time, are there people in the street?
So at this point, also in the video, you can hear my dad says to my sister, like, oh my God, I see a dead woman on the floor. Just one of the neighbors, she was just laying down on the floor, dead. So they turned around, and they tried to exit from the other side, but the terrorists were there too, obviously.
And only two exits, like only one entrance and one exit. So that means that they trapped.
Exactly. The enter and the exit is the same one. So that's the only way you can leave or enter with a car. You have no other option. And it's very small. Like you can walk the whole circle in maybe 10 minutes, even less. So they were blocked, and they were trying to figure out what they can do. And then my dad told my sister, go out. We need to start and run on foot because we have no way to, like, no other option to do it with the car. And it's a very hard choice to make. And they were very brave in the situation because the terrorists were like, it was the distance how I'm sitting, like me and you are sitting. They were surrounding them with like guns, shooting at them. For example, our car had about 80 bullets in it. So the whole time they were shooting on them. So my dad told her, leave the car, we're starting to run. So my sister left the car, my dad is right behind her. And at this point, my dad had 6 bullets in his body.
So they're running, they're shooting at them, and your dad gets 6 bullets. That's first of all insane. Second, where they're running to?
So I'll explain. First of all, I'm not exactly sure. I know they shot at him when he just entered the neighborhood for the first time. I'm not sure when exactly he got shot more times, but in general, in his body, he had 6 bullets in his legs.
From this entire
in his arms
episode. Okay, so they are running. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And at this point, like you can also see it in the video, a terrorist was standing right in front of them with a gun, shooting on them. And it's like a distance where like one bullet can kill you. But luckily, so my neighborhood has small exits where you can exit, but only on foot. It's like side exits. So they just ran to one of the side exits. And luckily the terrorists didn't keep on chasing them. It just turned around. Because again, at the same time, we also had more neighbors that were coming out, or like civilians who came out with their guns trying to protect the city and the neighborhood. So they had a lot going on in there. It wasn't just my dad and my sister. So they exited from one of the side exits, and they ran about 1 kilometer, which is a long way to run when you had 6 bullets in your body. My sister, luckily, she didn't get hurt. She only had like a bullet coming right over here, like on her forehead, but like it just touched her, but nothing happened to her physically. So they ran, and they hear gunshots all the way. So you don't know how far they are. You don't know if they're running, if they're chasing you, if they're behind you, the terrorists. like they felt in danger the whole time. By this point, we only got one phone call from Natalie. She was also trying to call the police and to like medical services, but we got only one phone call that said Dad has been shot.
So during this time, when they're on a run, she calls you, tells you Dad has been shot, and then hangs up?
And that's it. The phone, yeah, she called my mom. I'm guessing it was a phone call of maybe a few seconds because, again, she needed to call the police. There's nothing we can do because we were also in danger because the terrorists were outside, like, in our city. We weren't sure where exactly are they, so everyone are staying in their houses, in their safe rooms. So we just got that phone call, and my mom like said it to everyone in the house. And I remember getting that phone call and hearing that my dad has been shot. All of the things I'm telling now, it's things I only learned afterwards, like a couple days after, and when we saw the videos. But at this moment, I remember like I'm trying to think how it happened, and all I'm imagining in my head is like my neighborhood and there are terrorists outside and Dad has been shot. So like what can happen if Dad has been shot? My sister is probably with him. She has nothing to do. She's not armed. And I'm just imagining like a scenario in my head where he's laying down on the ground and he's left there to die with my sister. Because like all of these things I'm telling now, it's not something I even considered in my mind, that they ran and they managed to exit the neighborhood or that like they tried to escape with the car. I imagined it in my head very differently, and we didn't have any other information. So that's the only phone call we got.
So all this time, from the moment your sister is calling you, you're there, you're thinking about the worst scenario.
Exactly. Just imagining in my head the situation, what can it be, waiting for another phone call, waiting for an update, but like in my head, I'm imagining the worst.
This is unbearable. It's unbearable to be in this moment.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine how bad is not the right word for that. Even like it's.
I remember it was like we were the whole family in my sister's house. So my other sister also came with her husband and her kids. So it was me and my two sisters with her families and my mom. And it was like all of us together in this situation. No one knows what is happening. Everyone are trying like to be there for each other and to like, and we had like, I think at the time I had 4 nephews and nieces, like babies. So we're also with them and we're trying to make to keep the situation in the house calm and not to freak out too much.
And then what happened? Tell us
And then they ran about 1 kilometer and they already entered a different neighborhood. They knocked on doors of people, but no one opened them because everyone was scared because of the terrorists. Wow. And eventually, my dad, by like a miracle, by a chance, recognized the house of his nephew. His name is Yossi. So recognized the house, and he has an electric gate to his house. And Yossi and his family were asleep in their safe room in their house, so they didn't hear anything. They didn't even know about the terrorists. Like they woke up to the sirens, and they just went to keep on sleeping in the safe room. So luckily, their electric gate was open. That's another miracle because they would never hear my dad and my sister ringing.
Wow.
So they entered and they knocked on their door. They woke them up and then they opened the door. Also for Yossi and his family, he has 2 young daughters. And my dad just entered wounded, filled with blood. And like, again, it was within minutes. They tried to understand the situation. And they understood that all they need to do now is to lock the doors and to start treating my dad. So my dad was there for about 4 hours. They tried to get medical services to come, but everyone were in danger, so no one could come. So my dad was on the phone with a woman from Magen David Adom. trying to treat my dad. She gave her instructions through the phone. So Natalie and Yossi and his family were trying to help him, trying to stop the bleeding with what they had in the house. At this point, we already knew that my dad is at Yossi's house. We got a phone call from Natalie or from one of them that they got there and they're inside the house. So it was a bit calming. Like now the situation I imagined in my head disappeared because I realized that it's not just laying like bleeding to death on the floor, but they actually got to like a safe place.
And someone is treating him.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, the medical services, but at least he's with people he knows and they are trying to save him.
Yeah. So throughout those 4 hours, volunteers from United Hatzalah, 2 adult men that volunteered in the whole city trying to help civilians with their own personal car, they came and they started treating my dad, trying to help him to stop the bleeding. But again, they didn't have like too much of medical supplies with them, and there was like not much they could do. And after a while, they had to go out because there were more people wounded. It wasn't only my dad. So they left. And at this point, my dad really started, like his situation got worse. He really started to lose a lot of blood. And I remember at this point, we got another phone call from Natalie. And she told us that dad is losing a lot of blood and conscious. Like nothing else to say, just that. And I remember that the phone, like she gave my dad the phone, and the phone went through everyone in the house. So everyone got the phone for a few seconds. And I remember it felt like a goodbye call because my dad could barely talk at this time. But they probably felt like the phone need to go through everyone so everyone can say something. And I remember that the phone reached me, and I remember myself saying on the phone, "Dad, I love you." There was not much I could say also, and I only had a few seconds with him because he could barely talk. And I like I'm a person, I'm not expressing my feelings too much. I'm not like a lovey-dovey person, so it's something I don't say much. And I probably haven't said it in a long time before that also. But I remember that at this moment, this is the first thing that came out of my mouth because I felt like I have to say it now because it must be the last chance for me to say it to him. So I was saying goodbye to my dad without even thinking about it too much. I was just felt like I need to tell him that I love him in case he will never hear it again. And then
horrible.
And then they took my phone, like took the phone from me because, again, they had to continue on treating him. After that phone call, I remember like we felt everything, but we also didn't feel anything in the house. Like it was a lot of mixed feelings. But I remember that after that phone call, it was the first time where I fell apart and I let myself feel it. I remember I had like a panic attack and I started crying. Like I went to the safe room and I started crying and like I couldn't breathe. And my sister, like everyone in the house came to me, trying to relax me, telling to me like that it will be okay, even though they didn't even know it's gonna be okay. And it was kind of like also the last time from that I let myself fall apart like that and to really feel it all. And I also remember like through that day, I texted my friends, just trying to find comfort, trying to find anyone who will tell me that my dad will be okay, that he'll survive it. So back to my dad and Natalie. After that phone call, not long after, the volunteers from United Hatzalah came back and they decided to take my dad to a hospital in Beersheva. Beersheva is about 25 minutes drive from Ofakim. So they took him and that's what saved him. Because again, at this point, he lost conscience. He couldn't talk. He was losing too much blood. And luckily, like, they got to the hospital on time.
So we need to say, there is an happy ending to the story.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, great.
So he got to the hospital, and he was in a very, very bad shape. Like, right away, they took him to a surgery. And from that moment on, he went through a lot of surgeries. He was there, like, through surgeries and recovery. Until today, he still have remains of the bullets in his body because they couldn't remove it all.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's okay. Like, luckily, all of the bullets didn't hit vital areas. So he survived without life-changing physical injuries.
That's insane.
It is insane with 6 bullets in your body.
And so many miracles along the way.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
The whole story is like a big miracle to us. So like I said, he survived without any physical injuries that change his life for the long term. But that's the physical part. And the emotional and mentally part is something else. And until today, him and my sister and all of us, obviously, like all of the people in Israel and all of the Jews around the world, is something that they're facing with. They're dealing with since October 7th. But it's something like I can really see on them, like they're not the same people since that day. I can't really feel it on my dad too much because he's not a person who will let us see him vulnerable, or he will let us see him like not in a good shape. But like I can see it on him, even if he tries not to show it to us. And my sister, it was really hard on her to recover from that day. It's things no one should experience ever, like being chased after by terrorists or getting shot 6 times, or like it's just something that is unfair that they had to go through.
I agree. And I can imagine. And I think that all of us changed after this day. But I wanted to share your story because your story is, first of all, I think that everyone has a story from October 7th. It's a day, as I said, it changed us all. But your story is also very remarkable from where you were positioned, but also all the miracles that happened along the way. And I'm so thankful about this happy ending. And as you said, it's not like completely happy. And we will all, as a nation, of course, as individual, we will need to face all the challenges that this day brought to us. But your story is, as I said, truly remarkable. And I really wanted us to have it, keep this memory somewhere. And I felt that this podcast is the best platform for that.
It is. And I feel like it's very important to keep those stories alive and to keep on telling them, because this is how we can assure that these things are not going to happen again, as long as we spread the rumor. And again, like my story and my family's story is just one of many other horrible stories that happened that day and since then.
Some with less miracles on the way.
Yeah.
So this is why it's so important to tell that. Also for the ones who didn't had the chance to tell their stories.
Exactly. And in Ofakim, in my city, again, a very, very small city, 52 people got murdered that day.
Most of them from your neighborhood,
yes,
right?
A lot of neighbors. Some of them got killed in their home, in their pajamas. Some were policemen or IDF soldiers or just civilians that tried to protect the city. Some people just walked home on their way to synagogue or went to a walk outside with their dog. Didn't think about something that can even happen. But we're here to keep those stories alive and to remember those 52 people from Ofakim and all of the other people, civilians and soldiers and policemen that fell in Israel during the war.
Yes, and on October 7th specifically. So we really need to finish and close up this episode, but I just want to ask you for a last question. If you think that your story from October 7th has connection to the fact that you decided to come here for a gap year instead of any other thing you could have done, going to the army or going somewhere else for Shnat Shirut.
So this year was something I always wanted to do, like in general, but I feel like it was one of the reasons, and it was like a reason I told myself that this is what's gonna be a part of my impact here and the impact I'm doing in this year.
To share your story with the community. And I feel that you're doing a very good job with that.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, for everything, for this entire year.
Thank you for giving me the platform to share my story.
Thank you. And with this, we're going to close this episode. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Israeli Bond on hmTv. I appreciate very much my guest, Emily Rahmilov, that shared her story from October 7th and how it unfolds on Ofakim, her hometown. If you enjoyed exploring the information, history, and stories of today's conversation, be sure to check out our other podcasts here on hmTv. Please subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations. And until next time, take care and be well.